All right, let's get right into it. There's this trade dispute that's been in the news, over some minerals most people have never even heard of, but it's just ripped the cover off a much, much bigger story. We're talking about a story of two global superpowers, two competing systems, and a potential rewrite of the entire global economic rulebook. See, this isn't just about tariffs or trade deficits. No way. China's latest move isn't just business. It's a calculated geopolitical chess move, and it is aimed squarely at the heart of the American economy. So, what's the actual chess piece in this high-stakes game? It's something called rare earth elements. And these 17 minerals, they are the absolute secret sauce in practically everything that defines our modern world. I mean, the smartphone in your pocket, that electric car you're seeing everywhere, even our most advanced defense systems, they all completely depend on these materials.
Okay, so that brings us to the first part of this explainer. We've got to understand China's specific move, and more importantly, why it landed with such surgical precision. So here's the core action. China, which has a near monopoly on refining these critical minerals, we're talking over 80%, has basically decided to tighten the tap. By restricting exports, it's leveraging its dominance in a supply chain that, let's be honest, the rest of the world has become dangerously dependent on. And you have to look at the timing here because it is absolutely critical. This was not random. It happened just as the U.S. Supreme Court is set to rule on the legality of Trump's tariffs. That decision? It's expected in November, right before the holiday shopping season. It's a move designed to apply maximum pressure, not just economically, but politically and, psychologically. And if you look closer, you can see this perfect symmetry to the conflict. The U.S. had previously blocked China's access to high-tech semiconductors, right, to kind of stifle its tech ambitions. Well, China's response is a direct mirror image counter. You block the final product, the chips, we'll block the raw materials needed to make them. It's classic tit for tat. This whole episode, it reveals a much deeper truth about how these two powers operate. It's not just about what they did, but how they did it. And that points to a massive difference in their systems. So on one side, you have China's system. Decisions are made internally with incredible coherence and speed. When a policy is launched, it comes out fully formed with this unified messaging. And then on the other side, you have the American system, which is really designed to be fragmented. Policy ideas are debated, leaked, and litigated in public across countless agencies and stakeholders before they ever become law. There's this old American quip that just captures it perfectly. A camel is a horse designed by committee. It just perfectly describes the outcome of the U.S. system's complexity. China's surprise move was possible because its system is built for fast execution, while the American system often dilutes big ideas through endless debate. Now, let's zoom out a bit, because these economic jabs and these systemic differences, they're all playing out against the backdrop of a much more dangerous geopolitical flashpoint, the Pacific, and specifically, Taiwan. So why is Taiwan so critical? Just look at this number, 90%. That is the percentage of the world's most advanced semiconductors that are produced in Taiwan. It's the linchpin of the entire global tech economy, all concentrated on one small island. But it's about so much more than just chips. Taiwan's very existence as a vibrant, flourishing democracy, well, that represents an ideological challenge to Beijing's authoritarian model. It has become the central fault line in the global competition between two fundamentally different ways of organizing society. Look, a war here would be unthinkable, an absolute catastrophe for the entire world. But it might not be inevitable if, and it's a big if, we address the root cause of all these tensions. And that root cause, well, it's a much bigger problem. The fact is, the global trade system itself is fundamentally broken. The architecture that was built after World War II, things like the WTO, was designed for an analog U.S.-dominated world. It's completely unfit for today's digital multipolar reality. It ends up fueling inequality, it ignores climate and labor justice, and it's led to a world where economic weapons like sanctions have totally replaced cooperation. So the point is, we can't just apply patches to this outdated system. You can't just put a bandage on this thing. It's time for a complete overhaul, to design and build something entirely new, from the ground up. So what would that new system even look like? Well, there's a blueprint for a new global economic order, something we can call Trade 2.0. It's got 4 core pillars. First, you end the dominance of the U.S. dollar to create a more stable multipolar currency system. Second, you create a tiered framework where the rules aren't one size fits all, but instead they actually help developing nations. Third, you embed climate and labor justice right into the rules of trade. And finally, you use modern tech like AI and blockchain for real transparency and integrity.
And this table just puts it all into stark contrast. We move from dollar dominance to a multipolar system, from one-size-fits-all rules to an equitable framework. We'd shift from prioritizing growth above all else to embedding justice. And we'd go from these opaque backroom deals to tech-powered transparency that can even include individuals, not just giant corporations.
You know, when you boil it all down, what this amounts to is a fundamental shift in philosophy. Instead of using trade as a weapon through sanctions and coercion, this new system would be built around shared standards and genuine cooperation.
So where does that leave us? This whole rare earth crisis, the tensions over Taiwan, they are not just isolated problems. They are giant, flashing signals that the old world order is failing. A blueprint for a new one exists. The real question is, do we have the vision and the will to actually build it?